Welcome on into Toronto Sports Rush after the Toronto Maple Leafs have just beat the Philadelphia Flyers 7-2. We are live with our post-game show. Pierre McGuire joins us. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. Pierre, we spoke on our McGuire Mondays about the importance of this rebound game after how things went in Nashville. And you said to me, the quote was, Tuesday night isn't an athletic exercise, it's a mental exercise. What did you think about what we just saw from the Leafs?
They were overwhelming, and that's not a very good Philadelphia Flyer team, but that is not the Toronto Maple Leafs' fault, truly. They were firing on all cylinders. I know they fell behind 1-0 off a bad turnover by Johnny Tavares. That being said, after that, they were all hands on deck. The chemistry with Nyes, Matthews, and Marner was exceptional. Bobby McMann, John Tavares, and Mike or William Nylander had a phenomenal game. Bobby McMann was the unsung hero in this game, I thought. Max Domi was outstanding with his speed and his tenacity. And I got to tell you right now, I mean, Scott Lawton looked really comfortable, whether he's playing on the left side with Domi or the left side with David Kampf. I thought he played really well too. So it was a good night for the Toronto Maple Leafs and really a bad night for Philadelphia.
Yes, that's definitely true. And you could see so many headlines that can come out of this one. You mentioned all these different players that had, I mean, career nights. We'll start with a guy that you pointed out, Bobby McMann, scoring 20 goals for the first time in his career. And what an incredible pass from William Nylander for him right in the slot there. What
Mhm.
is it? Maybe, I mean, we've seen him in the league, but like, what is it about McMahon's game at this point right now in the season that you think is maybe going to be the biggest asset for the Leafs down the stretch?
You know, in NASCAR, when they say if you're not rubbing, you're not racing, he rubs all the time, so he's racing all the time. He's hard on people. He's hard on the forecheck. He's strong with his board play. He's got excellent peripheral vision. He can make passes to the slot. He can make passes when guys are in full motion. He reads off the center ice, the face-off plays. He's a look at. I've known him a long time. He played at Colgate University. He's from Wainwright, Alberta. He's a kid that got no love at all. He had a great college career. Goes to Newfoundland, plays in the East Coast Hockey League, gets a call up, plays for the Marlies, and all of a sudden he gets an opportunity and he never looks back. When the door was opened a little bit, Julie, he kicked it in and never let it shut on him. I just love the kid. He's character personified.
Right, I love that story, and when you hear that about guys that have kind of had to really scrap and grind their way, and then they get an opportunity and they roll with it, like, what is it maybe about even just their character, about their makeup to just be able to take advantage of that moment? I know there's a lot of external factors, but what's maybe something internal about him that stands out?
I just think the biggest thing is a lot of people doubted him. And I think internally he said, you know what? You can doubt me all you want. I know how good I am. I train a lot of young men in the summer. And the one thing that I find with there's a lot of higher end guys that they know they're going to play. It's the guys that have to fight and scratch and claw and have everybody say, you're not big enough. You're not fast enough. You're not tough enough. You're not skilled enough. Those are the guys that are dangerous. Bobby McMahon was one of those guys for a long time. And eventually he did get big enough. He did get fast enough. He did get skilled enough. He did get mean enough. And now you're seeing he's an important player for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right, they play with that chip on their shoulder of just that's their identity of it's never been really given to them easily, and so I think that carries with them throughout the rest of their career. Now, a guy who sort of seems to have flown a little bit under the radar, mostly because of his teammates, I would say, is William Nylander, and I say that because of based on the core 4, but the fact is that he just scored 40 goals for the 3rd straight season. That's not someone flying under the radar, but that's just part of almost Nylander's personality. What do you what is it like for I mean, for Nylander, do you think that maybe he's the most consistently effective player on this team?
I would say in some situations, yes, but I think it's hard to go against what Austin Matthews does when he's healthy. Tonight, I don't know if you agree with me. Austin was prepared to compete for 200 feet in that game. He just elevates his game, and you can see it when he wants to take charge. He can. I think Willie's probably the best pure scorer, even though Austin had almost 70 goals last year. I think Willie's probably been the most consistent to your point with 3 40+ goal seasons, but Austin Matthews pretty darn good, Julie. He's pretty darn good.
Yeah, yeah, he is. I mean, right, of course. It's just I feel like he was a little bit silent tonight. I mean, just based on everyone else. When you
Yeah.
see them going up against a team like the Flyers that are desperate, they've got really nothing going on out there. And you don't see someone like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner taking that whole game apart. What does that say to you?
Oh, I think that they were fine. I didn't think they were as bad as everybody maybe perceives, but what I do think is that other players in the lineup, we talked about Domi, McMann, Tavares, Nylander, Robertson. I mean, there was a lot of guys that played really well. I think they were fine. They were adequate. They were good. I think the Leaf season really starts now. You get a chance to go out west, play in San Jose. You get a day off before you play in LA, the best home team in the league. And then you go into Anaheim, it's a back to back. So you're looking at two of those three games are non playoff teams. You got to steamroll those two non playoff
Mhm.
teams and make a statement in LA. I said to you yesterday on Monday, on McGuire Mondays, I thought the Leafs could go 4-0. I thought they'd win tonight. Thought they'd win in San Jose. Thought they'd win in LA, and I
No,
think
you
they'll
didn't
win tonight.
think they'd win in LA.
I
You
said
said
it's
like
a test. It's a statement game. That's what I think
okay.
I said. No, but you're probably holding my feet
You
to the
said
or my
6 out of
hands to the
8
fire.
points would be good.
Yeah, yes. Oh, 6 out of 8 would be great, but I still think they'll win there. I think they're
Okay.
going to run the table on this trip.
Ooh, okay. That's a lot of confidence after this is what I love. The seesaw of the Leaf season is just whew. I mean, strap in. It just makes you like it's up and down all around. And I saw couple fun tweets on Twitter that were just like does anyone remember the Nashville game on Saturday? Because this game had everything, as Stefan from SNL would say. And okay, back to just Nylander for a second. Not only is he a great goal scorer, but he has such incredible vision when it comes to setting up his teammates. And what is it like about the way he assists his teammates, do you think, that makes him so effective for them?
So he's a better scorer than his father. I can tell you, I coached his dad. When his dad was 19 years old, I was his coach. And his dad was amazingly talented. Julie, I'm telling you, Michael was an amazingly talented player. Michael didn't have the finishing ability that William has, but what William has that he does almost the same as his dad, he's got amazing peripheral vision. Truly, his peripheral vision is phenomenal. And I think that has helped him. Maybe his dad passed that along. Maybe he trained with his dad and learned from his father. But his peripheral vision is phenomenal. And he can find guys that are covered and he can find guys that are wide open. And that's a gift. That is, Wayne. I'm not saying he's Wayne Gretzky. Please don't misunderstand me. Wayne Gretzky could do that. Mario Lemieux could do that. Paul Kariya could do that. Joe Nieuwendyk could do that. Like, there are not a lot of players in the history of the game that could really do it with that kind of flair. I think Willie's one of those guys that's pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's like he's got eyes on the back of his head when we see him as a breakaway specialist. And he almost had one of those earlier in the game, but he was offside and it was, the situation wasn't going to unfold that way. But Max Domi, a guy has had 3 goals now in the last 7 games. He's had 7 goals on the season. So it's great to see that secondary scoring coming along. But that goal in particular, he really
Mm.
battled he really battled for that puck, and then, I mean, what a nice nifty little snipe. What did that say about maybe, like, what his abilities are that we maybe haven't seen as much of this season?
I think one of the things that got him into playing this way, Julie, they put him on a line with Matthews, and Marner was a little deeper in the lineup, and Matthew Nyes, and he started to go. He started to percolate. And I think when you get a chance to play with better players, it shows that the coach has a little bit of confidence in you. And I think that helped him because it obviously has not been a great year for him offensively. But what's his call sign? His call sign is speed. He showed that tonight, especially on the goal you alluded to. He's ferocious on the forecheck when he is moving at a high
Mhm.
rate of speed. That makes a difference. And he has way better hands than people talk about. Like, I'll never forget him in the World Junior. And he was so good with Sammy Reinhart. They were so good together. And Anthony Duclair, that line was unbelievable. And everybody's like, wow, this Stony kid's going to lighten up the NHL. and it just didn't materialize offensively. He still was a very good player, don't get me wrong, but now we're starting to see little flares of it again. I think it's really exciting for him.
Yeah, I mean, especially a guy like that, obviously with the lineage in Toronto, and we know that he probably feels the pressure to live up to a lot of that and wants to do really well. So you want to see him succeed. Now, um, what do you think about the goaltender interference on the Morgan Riley goal?
So here's a it seems to be the moment of the week is goalie interference. And I'm just gonna say this to you and to our beautiful audience. I don't know what the rules are when it comes to goalie interference. I really don't. I'm trying to understand. I think I understand, but I'm not sure I do, if that makes sense to you. What was your
Yeah,
take? What was your
I
take?
my initial thought was absolutely no interference. I thought he had been pushed, and I thought he was his motion was already just the inertia of his way his body was going. He wasn't pushing into the goaltender. But then after they showed replays from the angle above, it did kind of look like Marner had sort of, had one extra push against the goalie. But then I was watching the Canadian feed through ESPN Plus, and it was like Gord Miller even said, like, this is really murky. Like
Mhm.
he doesn't even know what to call for that. We're just waiting to see. It's almost just you have no idea. It's like a slot machine. It's a coin flip. You're like, what's it going to be? I have no idea how they're going to call this one. And I think that it's like the new catch rule in a way where I mean, I guess if this is I think I heard them say something like you're trying to figure out how the refs are calling the games now because when you're going into playoffs to just figure out, okay, all right, if these are the certain things they're going to be looking at, they're going to be calling these things more, they're not going to be calling these things as much. I, do you think that would factor into some of the coaches' plans going down the stretch, just
Well,
knowing how the refs are calling the games?
I think they're gonna have to put a memoranda out coming out of the GM's meetings last week about, and I know everybody's saying, "This is exactly what goalie interference is." I don't think it's clear. It's not exactly what they're saying. So I think they're gonna have to sit down again as a group, whether it's on Zoom or whatever, and figure out how we're gonna prepare before we go into the playoffs, because that's been done before, not with goaltender interference, but with some other things, that the league was concerned with. So I hope we're gonna have a little bit more clarity on it. I know the league's saying,
Mhm.
"We're crystal clear. This is exactly." No, you're not. And the Paul Mary situation
Yeah.
last night with Elvis Merzlikins, that was a mistake. And what's ironic about it, the official that worked that game, and he's a good official, Mike Markovich, he
Yeah.
worked the game tonight in Toronto.
I know. I heard them say that.
And
It's
I feel, he's a really good official. And last night they had Wes McCauley and Mike Markovich working, and those are two very good officials.
Mhm.
Toronto got involved. I'm not Patrick Waugh. I'm just saying what Patty. I'm echoing what Patty said. They're going to have to get this whole issue sanitized before they get to the playoffs.
Right. I think that and two examples back to back definitely makes the case. Okay, so then on the flip side of this goal that wasn't a goal,
Right.
when I even after it, just knowing that Morgan Riley had the feeling of putting the puck in the net, I felt, okay, well, there's no goal, but I think that there's a slight win in the fact that this is a guy that needs to score. He has been chomping at the bit. I mean, he's had a down season, but what's maybe the benefit of just having a guy see the puck go in the net, even if the goal doesn't count?
I think there's a lot to what you just said that's very positive. You know, when goal scorers score, especially point getters get points, their food is warmer, their pillows are softer, the walk through the airport's quicker, their shoes feel great. It's almost like they've polished themselves. When you're not scoring, your food is cold, your pillow's rough, your shoes don't look shine. You hate life. That's just, I think with him now, he's settling in with Brandon Carlo, which is really positive. He did get an opportunity to create some offense tonight. He looks like he's skating extremely well. So I think that will help him. I think you raise a really good point. I think it's a very good point.
Right, it's just that feeling, right? And seeing it go in, even though it was an open net. But it's just like when you're you're just trying to get something going. It's like, okay, there's the feeling of I'm doing the thing that I haven't been able to do. And to that point with your food's warmer, your pillows are softer. I remember being on the Anaheim Ducks plane after the games, and like all the guys wanted our the final media notes because I wanted to see every single stat, right? Like every single
Right.
shot, every single uh assist, anything that could be possibly to their name. I loved seeing that because it just showed how much they cared. But okay, so now they head out. This was a great get right game. If there was any
Mhm.
way to get right, it was certainly this. They go to San Jose. What is number one on your mindset? You're Craig Berube. What's your message to the team?
We're planting a seed of doubt right away with the opposition. They're young kids. They've got a new young player going in their lineup. Kid named Cam Lund, who played college hockey at Northeastern University. He just signed out of there. They've obviously got a young guy in Will Smith. They got another young guy in Macklin Celebrini. They got another young guy in Henry Thrun. They got a lot of young guys there, a lot of young guys. And my message to the team, if I'm coaching, is we're planting a seed of doubt right from the first shift, and we're putting the boots to them. We're not playing nice
Mhm.
tonight because we're now in first place and we're keeping it. We're the shareholders and we're not passing it off. And you set the mindset right from the first game on that road trip. And I think it started tonight. To your point, I really do. It was a make right game, and I think they feel pretty darn good getting on the plane tomorrow going to San Jose.
Right, and then just to your point in the fact that they're entering into sort of that playoff mode now because every single game is important, even the quote unquote trap games playing against teams that aren't as good. You have to win those games, and
Yeah.
you're going to have to also win the games that are against the playoff opponents and the playoff type teams because those are the ones that you're going to be seeing down the stretch. And the Leafs have now taken over first in the Atlantic. They're 2 points up on Florida, and they had a game in hand. So that is huge for them. They're going to want to keep that spot. We've heard that Craig Berube isn't, he doesn't want, he hasn't said he wants to finish first, but he wants to, I guess, basically they don't want to finish second or third. We all know that. So they're in a good spot right now. And now they just got to figure out a way to keep that momentum going and that consistency going. And that has been a bit of a struggle for them this season. But as we know, any game can change everything all around. And that could be this game here tonight. Pierre McGuire, thank you so much for joining us with all your insight and analysis here on Toronto Sports Rush post game show. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time for some more Leafs content.